Our first reading today is from a blog post by Elizabeth Gilbert, author of Eat, Pray, Love, and other books. And she says, "To condemn yourself as unlovable is to swallow a terrible lie. And to believe that you must earn love through perfectionism, that you must seek love from others in order to become whole, turns all of us into hungry beggars. I believe there is an ocean of warm, affectionate, and outrageously unconditional love available to us all, and that it is conveniently accessible from within. I don't believe anyone is excluded from this ocean of love. It is only a question of learning how to hear it, how to feel it, and how to trust it." Second reading is from the Reverend Jen Crow, one of our Unitarian Universalist ministers, in her book, Take What You Need. And she says, "Love can work its way into improbable and impossible situations. Like water over stone, it has the potential to wear down our suffering, create new pathways of possibility, and support life in inhospitable terrain. Love can't fix every situation, but it does have a way of working on us, opening portals to our closed hearts. Love keeps us company, settling in beside the unlikely good or the unlikely bad that comes our way." Here ends the readings. I really wanted to spend a little moment on not just on love, but on self love in this time. So I'm curious, think amongst yourselves, what were your first messages about how to feel about yourself? Just think about that. What were your first messages about how to feel about yourself? Did those first messages include affirmation, respect, love? Were there other messages not so affirming? There was an early narrative I heard about love that kind of sticks with me. It's from the Beatles. Yes, it is. All you need is love. All right. All you need is love. Ba, 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 da, da. All you need is love. Ba, 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 da, da. Right? All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. And it's not just the refrain, which goes again and again and again. And I so appreciate they're like, we're going to sing until it gets into you. I mean, that's really what they're doing, right? But also a little bit in the lyrics. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. And nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. All you need is love. We are in the middle of a profound public conversation about love, global, national, personal, all the levels. We are in a moment when consideration around how we treat each other has profound implications around human rights. It has profound implications for how we understand ourselves individually, but also what our children absorb about who is and isn't worthy of care and respect and dignity. All right, so let me ask who saw the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny? If you didn't watch it then, did you watch it since? Because it was like the thing to talk about. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. And his creation, his performance that was an affirmation of culture and history and diversity and expression. And there's nothing more powerful than love. Nothing more powerful than love. And he conveyed this all in his Caribbean Spanish. He displayed the culture that he grew up in, the resources, the people determined to make a life in the working of the sugarcane fields, into taking care of the utilities when they went out because the US doesn't seem to give a care. All of their work, the everyday life centered in mutual support, and how it has endured amid centuries of colonization, oppression, insufficient infrastructure, lack of a say in government, and people being pushed out and preyed upon by those with money and influence. I happened to catch the teaser trailer before the game, the teaser for this production before the game, and it was about people dancing in a field. All ages, all races, all bodies. And the show itself affirmed a wide range of how humans appear at home, at work, and in celebration in their daily lives. Benito spent also, so it wasn't just about performance and music, it also was about so many layers of connecting and message. He spent precious airtime of the 13 minutes he had to speak directly to the camera, directly to each of us, and said again and again, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You are beautiful and remarkable and should have the freedom to dream. No wonder some people were shook. No, not liberation, not freedom, not independence, not thoughtfulness. We happen to have this other overlapping event in the last month or so, last several couple weeks. This walk for peace. The Buddhist monks located in Fort Worth made their trek from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C., walking all the way, the walk for peace with their beloved peace dog. They themselves were powerful and radiant in compassion with every encounter, every person, every being. If you're on social media, you might have happened to catch the reels or the live feeds of the monks walking and being greeted, being given flowers, and how the monks responded to everyone with peacefulness, with a smile, with care. I know I felt a certain ease and a certain relief wash over me every time I happened to catch one of those feeds. These orange road figures, the slight smiles, the constant effort and care with every step they took. In this moment, we are also witnessing the public examination of the Epstein files, millions of documents that reveal how people in power related to one another, connected, bargained, supported, how they encouraged the pursuit of some of the worst offenses against the most vulnerable people, committed profound violations against body, mind, and spirit, showed no regard for humanity or dignity, the casual dismissing of every person they harmed for the sake of appetite. This information impacts many of us who have had such violence in our own lives. I want to just recognize that. The network that supported this is vast. It is vast. And the work of countering the devastation and securing some measure of justice is just beyond count, practically beyond conception. The privilege itself is enraging, heartbreaking, and this week, one of the images I noted was the group of survivors who were standing in the chamber um, when Attorney General Bondi was being questioned. Most of the survivors were not looking at her, but a few were looking at her, and oh, they were fierce. I will not forget that. They were present and defiant and alive. One of our most powerful acts, dare I say it, one of our superpowers, is the ability to claim love, including for ourselves. In Unitarian Universalism, we talk about love at the center. And this is not mere sentiment. This is not, I mean, I love a Valentine, got a few, really enjoyed them, and some chocolate. We love a good love language of chocolate. And and the kind of love we're talking about is one that really is grounded at the center of all being, is part of what connects each and every one of us, that connects our entire world, that takes us beyond ourselves. I took a note from Valerie Carr, the sick teacher. And she talks about love, something beyond sentiment, that love is more than a rush of feeling. It is when we consider our deepest relationships. Love is what you do for each other, how we care for each other. It is a life giving force, it is a life giving activity because it's a choice we make again and again. It is demanding, it is fierce in itself. It is, in fact, a kind of labor. She calls it a sweet labor, however imperfect it might be. But it is what we do for each other again and again because we understand what is most important and we act on it. It contains, because it's an action, it's a choice in so many forms, it is full of all of our emotions. It's not just one emotion of a loving love, it is all of our emotions involved with action. It is the grief that is the price of love. It is the anger that is the force of love. We harness into living our values to protect what matters most. And when we choose to love beyond what evolution requires, she calls that revolutionary love. When we choose to act and care beyond what evolution requires, we engage with a revolutionary love, the choice to look upon anyone, including ourselves, as worthy, as valuable, as part and parcel of one another. In Unitarian Universalism, we recognize how justice is love in action, as Cornel West says. And we recognize that all the way up into the greatness and all the way down into the smallest increment, our own hearts. We recognize how we are powerful and precious and worthy and not alone. And that we have access to love all around us. This is part of our universal understanding, This is present in all things. Our constant task is to access. It is a power we can tap into, but it also seems to be a constant work to access, understand ourselves as worthy from so many, to fight against the messages that tell us that we are unworthy, that we are not lovable, that we are not enough, that we only are the value of what we produce and what we serve. Whether we hear that from family or friends or advertising or institutions, this is our constant work. One of the ways that shows up in our work is the understanding of shame and guilt. Brene Brown, Texas researcher, sociologist, has quantified data around human feelings and self understanding. She's especially known for her work in vulnerability and courage. She talks about shame and guilt. And for guilt, that's when we make a mistake, when we do something that has a negative effect, when sometimes we even choose to go against our values for whatever reason, justify something and realize that was a bad choice. But then also guilt is when we resolve guilt or address it by addressing that impact, how we do or don't follow up. Now, shame, on the other hand, is that intensely painful feeling or experience of believing we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. So, shame is when we believe we are unworthy. So, guilt is when we make a mistake. Shame is when we feel we are a mistake. Now, with guilt, after the error, after the harm, then we get to consider what is our response? What is our responsibility? What is the path to take care of those relationships? It can be productive. It's not great, but it can be productive. Now, with shame is if one is feeling like one is the mistake. And that's the experience of feeling inherently unworthy and that there is no possibility of repair because something about us is damaged permanently, that we don't have the right to hope and love. It's not productive. We get stuck. And, and I was reminded that one of the things we are actually not taught is how to address shame. We're more taught to hold on to the feelings inside, let them amplify and fester, and leave us fearful. But Brene Brown and many others in Unitarian Universalism, this is partially why we're constantly talking about being worthy of love. And you don't have to qualify, you're already here. Each of us has a right to be here because we are here in all of our flaws and all of our complexity and all of our joy. And as Unitarian Universalists, we recognize that we have the possibility to keep evolving in that experience, that we have an opportunity and a call to grow, to learn again and again if we need to learn it again, because usually we do, that we are in fact loved as well. That there is room for us, the wholeness of each of us. We honor the inherent worth of every person, how profoundly we are connected, how much we center on the search for truth and meaning in all things, and that love is present in all things, including us. As the Beatles say, all you need is love. You can learn how to be you. You will be where you are meant to be. All you need is love. As I was putting together this moment and recognizing some of the hardships which really challenge our understanding of love and respect for ourselves, it also struck me that we're kind of in this glorious era of affirmation. We're in this glorious era of affirmation. People have been working so hard and so long and doing such powerful work on caring for the body and the self, on advocating for an understanding of radical love that's in our stories, that's in our toys, that's in books, that's in music. Have you taken a minute recently to see the number of children's books that celebrate the self? We have the wonderful problem of being able to choose only one for worship. I mean, this really just struck me in the course of putting things together uh, late that we have this fantastic pool of resources from people who have said, I didn't have this, I'm going to make sure this exists so that fewer children have to feel like they are not okay. We saw this last week in the halftime show from Bad Bunny. Uh, it featured certainly mainly beautiful, able bodied people, but also it featured a range of skin color, hair, work, same gender dancing that really freaked out some people. I'm just saying. Go back and watch. You're like, oh, that's what people were bothered about. And they were fine. That people have a right to joy and expression and possibility. This was all the liberating work of love, and we saw it on the biggest stage in the world. And he did it so that we could take it in together. It was a profound and powerful chance to say to each other, I love you, I see you, the fullness of you has a right to be here, to be cherished, and to be known. What powerful work might come from a practice of love, of accepting it in its capacity in our lives, how we might counter the messages we receive as individuals against the injustices of the world. That love is the hourly practice of the people in Minneapolis. It fuels the dismantling of bias and racism, ableism, sexism, homophobia, and so much more. It is a liberating, revolutionary love always. And if you're needing a personal practice, if you want one more way to connect this with the personal, I appreciate Elizabeth Gilbert and her work, Letters from Love. She says, I believe there's an ocean of warm, affectionate, and outrageously unconditional love available to us all, and that is conveniently accessible from within. I don't believe anyone is excluded from this ocean of love. It is a question of learning how to hear it, how to feel it, and how to trust it. And so for over 25 years, Elizabeth Gilbert has had this practice of asking love and writing a letter. To say to love, what would you have me know today? So she invites folks to sit quietly with a journal, with paper, with pen, and say, Dear love, what would you have me know today? And allow that answer to come. What would that spirit of unconditional, revolutionary love tell you if it had a voice, if it could show up in a little writing? And it can acknowledge suffering, it can acknowledge struggle, it can acknowledge harm. What does your spirit need? Think of it as writing and talking with a beloved friend because love is that beloved, deep friend. And you don't have to overthink. I don't know anybody who overthinks a thing, right? No, no. Mm-mm. Nope, nope, nope. But don't overthink. Yeah, we go. Don't think of an elephant. Don't overthink the overthinking. But give yourself permission to just flow and write and see what shows up. This is not about being gifted or showing off anything. This is meant to simply see what emerges. And it can be hard to tamp down the negative voices that are with us all the time? Think about how easy it is to hold the negative voices that pick at you. I gotta say, sometimes those voices feel like they're really free range, especially at night when I should be sleeping. Anybody else got that? 4:30, yeah, 4:30 in the morning. Would that it was 4:30, I'm just saying. So instead of just so with that kind of voice, instead of shutting it down, kind of pushing it and forcing it, maybe bullying those voices down, maybe instead fill your attention with an answer from love. I think that's what Elizabeth Gilbert is trying to encourage us to do. Fill your attention with an answer from love. Critical voices are going to be there, but we get to choose where our energy goes, right? And give ourselves permission to love ourselves. There's so many days when I could have used a love note from love. I'd been aware of this practice earlier, a way to encounter doubt, failure when faced with a, say, an overwhelming day of parenting. I know for myself, or early in ministry, frankly, when anytime someone's angry at me, oh, I like to make people happy. Don't be angry at me. Any of those moments, or during the pandemic, when experiencing that deep fear and isolation, not knowing how we would get through, and being even more alone in the moment of that experience. In this time, the message from love can be a conversation to affirm our humanity, our agency, our ability to speak and act and advocate, and to care and receive care. That simply caring for one another is itself a revolutionary act of love. We can have that conversation in those kind of letters as well. For my colleague, the Reverend Sarah Lindsay, sometimes it can be hard to remember to love ourselves, but you, just as you are a unique, wonderful being that has so much love to give and is so loved. Close with her words. May we continue to cultivate the deep knowledge of our own worth. May we come into soulful understanding of our own loveliness. May we know our own beauty even when others demean us. May we have the strength to love ourselves and be committed to living more honest and truest lives as forces of compassion and kindness and gentleness. So may it be. Amen.